Could it be a guy by the name of Mike Munchak? Is that the gentleman that you might be referring to? Some call him the O-line whisperer. Some says that he has Munch's millionaires because everybody that he coaches turns into a millionaire.
I never heard that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we call him. Yeah, Munch's millionaires. It's like, oh yeah, you getting $1 million next. Oh, hey, he's working with you. Oh, hey, he's next in line. He's gonna get paid. That's what Munch did, man. Think about it.
If we did bring in Munchak, that would definitely help Dan more.
Just think about some of the names. First, when we talk about Marcus Gilbert, night and day. You talk about Kelvin Beachum. Now, Kelvin was already balling, but Kelvin also got paid afterwards. Al Villanueva. Al went from you a DN to now you're a Pro Bowl left tackle.
At least Dan Moore was a 4th-round pick as a left tackle. Come on, man. Right?
Yeah. That's one is a converted DN/receiver/tight end in terms of Al. One was undrafted in terms of Beach. Obviously, Gil was a draft pick, but I'm trying to think when we came here in 14, because that's when Munch came as well. Gil wasn't viewed in terms of being a guy that you want to extend. Now, I remember, in fact, when he got the deal, he was like, bro, you robbed him. This is crazy. And then he bought out and it worked out. But that's a Munch effect, man. And then we also can go down the list of Chris Hubbard. Chris Hubbard got a check messing with him. Matt Filer got a check messing with him. Shoot, BJ Finney got paid with him under as well. Went out to Seattle, man. So I'm telling you, bro. Hey, Munch does that now. So the reason this is even a topic is because he did an interview with your friends at 93.7 The Fan. Yes, I heard a little bit. Actually, I didn't hear, but I'm aware of it. Yes. Right. So they asked him about if he would return to Pittsburgh or even if he was considering returning to Pittsburgh this offseason, because we had the O-line coach vacancy and he was done in Denver. So I think it was brought up a little bit. There was a little bit of buzz when we were talking about who's going to be the next O-line coach, but we made that hire pretty quick. We just signed Meyer kind of out of nowhere, and he's deserving, I think. He's not on Munchak's level, though. We both agree with that. He's had some success in the NFL being an O-line coach. So I'm trying to think where I want to start this with, because we got a bunch of quotes in this interview. Yeah, we definitely do, man. It was juicy. It was a good one. So this was in reference to potentially coming back to Pittsburgh. This is what Munchak said. He said, "We talk. That's one of those things I don't really want to talk about. I was more at the time trying to stay in Denver out west. It's something we never really discussed because as much as I loved Coach T, there's no better head coach in football as a player to work for or as a coach to work for. I learned so much from him and the Rooneys and how they run their organization. For me, that was a great learning experience. I learned a lot from my years there." But then I guess they tried to ask him again. Man, that was nice what he said about Coach T right there, man. It was. I kind of agree with that, man. So I think they kind of tried to get more specific here and asked, like, were you interested at all this offseason? Yeah, versus like in the past. And he says, again, at the time I was trying to stay out west. It was not something I was considering at the time when they may or may not have had an opening. I was 100% focused at trying to stay out in this part of the country. It didn't quite work out this year for that to happen. And then he goes on to say that he's not done coaching, would like to get back in because it's something he's really passionate about. So, because that's what made it interesting. He was very, I like how he uses his words too, man. We talk about at that time, it didn't make sense, or at that time, it just, it wasn't working. Because we knew the reason why he left initially was because he wanted to be closer to his family. I believe it's his grandchildren that live in Denver. He wanted to be out there with them, man. So I understood that, and that was why, like I said, he left to go to Denver. Yeah, he's 62, too. Yeah. I mean, you got to appreciate some of that stuff in your life. No, you don't want to regret it. Man. Without a doubt. So with that being the case, now here we are, at a year or two later, and it's a weird dynamic because he says he doesn't want to leave them. He wants to stay out there, but he's not employed out there by Denver no more. So in a sense, and he said he doesn't want to retire either. He said he still wants to keep doing it. So I'm like, how does this thing play out? Says he's really fond of the Steelers. Yeah. Some of his best years here. Right. But then he also seems committed to staying out west for the future. But he's not employed by Denver. So I'm like, how does this thing work? Or you're willing to coach. Maybe he's taking a year off here. That's probably it. Because isn't, at this point, everyone should have their O-line coaches solidified? I mean, you should, but at the same time, I think if a Munch said he wanted to come and work for you, I don't think you're gonna turn. It's like Brian Flores, right? You can make a way. Yeah, that's how I look at it. That makes you can make a way. Why couldn't you make a way? Like, what we talking about here, man?
Who's calling the shots then? I mean,
we know who's calling the shots.
Pat Meyer is assistant coach.
We know who's calling the shots. Is this a debate? Like, we know we know who'll be the guy.
Maybe they could be a good tag team though.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it because right now it doesn't look like he's coming to Pittsburgh this year. We just hired Pat Meyer. Mm-hmm. That's not changing. We're not going to fire him before the season starts. Unless, like you said, I mean, we're still not firing him, but the only way we could bring on Munchak is, like you said, he's like, I want to be the O-line coach.
Right.
Or be on your staff. And we would say, yeah, come on in. But I don't see that playing out based off how these quotes went.
Now, I do agree with you on that. I guess my final question with this, though, is how confident would you feel that he could turn this group into world beaters?
Really good.
Just the reason I ask is because we got to take into context what he's working with. Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, a lot higher pedigree, a lot more gifted, and just better players. Marcus Gilbert versus Chooks.
Yeah, he was a second-round pick.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Chooks was what, third or fourth
round? Yeah, he was third round. So, like, when I think of those guys, I'm just comparing and contrasting. Ramon Foster at that stage versus Kevin Dotson, where he's at right now. Like, I just think that it was a lot. Like, I think he had just better pieces to work with during that time frame, just in my most humble opinion. Yeah.
That's fair, but he has made names for some of the no-name guys as well.
No, he has, but I think it's a difference, though, in the sense of when you're talking about one-offs from no-names, putting them with this group, because you still had Pouncey, you still had DeCastro, you still had Ramon.
It was good as a unit.
Right. You knew you were going to have at least 3 of those guys in whatever capacity. Then when Al became who he was, it was, okay, now you know you got these 4 guys, and now we're just talking about, okay, is it Matt Fowler at right tackle? Is it this guy at right tackle? Or is it this guy at this position? But it was always one, whereas what we're talking about now is you're creating from, that, I don't want to call them like the no-name pal, but from guys with nowhere near the amount of pedigree or productivity as that particular group. So I always think of it like when you hear coaches say, man, I was a great coach because I had great players. Would Munch struggle with this particular unit?
I don't think he'd struggle.
Okay.
No, I think he'd do good. I mean, if you had one guy to hire, it'd be him, right?
For me personally, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, sometimes it does come down to the players, though, too. I mean, because we were having this conversation, I think, about wide receivers and, our wide receiver coach. I vaguely remember this, but I remember bringing up, how do we point to the wide receiver success based off their wide receiver coach? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it's just man, receivers, for Deontay, dude, catch the ball. Or they got to get better in the offseason. They got to run better routes and stuff. I mean, so I think that's a question in of itself. How much impact does the O-line coach have on the O-line, or any of the position coach have on any individual players? I think that's just a bigger macro question, because he would be the one guy I would hire for any offensive line.
Yeah.
If he can't do it, then no one else can. I think that's
all the players.
That's basically the baseline of what I'm getting to.
If we bring Munch in this offensive
he's got the best chance to
we got to get
around.
rid of every single O-lineman we got, man.
Yeah, right. You get what I'm saying? He's got the best chance out of anyone to turn him around.
No, I would agree.
So I would take my chance with that. Now, how's Pat Meyer going to do? And this is my other point. I guess we got to give him a chance.
No, I think we both said that when we hired him. We were like, it wasn't the pick that we wanted in the sense of a Munchak, but when you're talking about his qualifications.
Yeah, who else were you getting outside of him?
Right. And his qualifications, in contrast to Adrian Clem, at the time of Clem's hire, this is way better. This is a guy that has already proven that he can coach at this level and be successful at this level. So, yeah, I do feel a lot better with Pat Meyer's situation. And, yeah, just giving him a go at it.
But if this is coming up again about a Munchak return, that's not good, because that means our offensive line probably sucked this year, and Pat Meyer didn't do a good job due to association.
So
who knows if they actually? That's my point. Who knows if the coach was doing good or not? But either way, it's not good.
If you have to answer it today, you're projecting into the future. Give me.
We're talking about Munchak.
Give me
next offseason.
Nostradamus. Are we talking about Munchak returning to the Steelers next year this time, or are we going to be feeling very confident in Pat Meyer and what he did to this offensive line and that franchise left tackle in Dan Moore?
Wow. I could see growing pains, but I could see our O-line being improved from last year as well.
Okay.
And I think it goes back to what we were just talking about. If you get a chance to add Munchak to your staff, you're not going to scoff at it or push it aside.
Come on, man.
So I think it could come up, but I do think our offensive line is going to be fine.
Fair enough.
I do. I think it's going to be much improved from last year.
Fair enough.
Bringing in Daniels, Mason Cole, Dotson, another year, as long as he doesn't get hurt. It seems you're really high on Dan Moore.
Come on, man. Best pick of the draft, baby. Don't do that
Chooks
now.
hopefully hitting his prime. We gave him that
He just got
huge
paid.
contract for a reason.
Come on, man.
That was a huge contract.
Chill out on my man Chooks, bro. Chooks my new favorite offensive lineman behind Dan Moore.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll have Chooks in front of Dan Moore because Chooks has got the new money. Yeah, I'm a fan of new money. So yeah, Chooks is my guy. Then it's Dan Moore.
I could see it coming up. But I think our line is going to be fine.
There we go.
It's a weird dynamic. And here, because here's the other thing, though. I don't know what Pat Meyer's contract is. I tried looking this up. Is it 1 year? Is it 2? I have no clue.
No. Typically with the assistants, 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Steelers way. They do ones. Yeah.
Okay, so
Just for the assistants, though.
Okay, so that just might happen because his contract's out naturally, and maybe we bring him back. If we don't bring him back, that's essentially us firing him, right?
Come on now, you're catching on, man. You know the Steelers, they don't fire, they just don't renew.
And if that's the case, that's obviously because we didn't like our productivity from the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the basic question:
I know.
Is the O-line good enough to bring back Pat Meyer?
Okay, all right, okay.
Wow.
Okay, we there now.
I don't know about that.
Uh-oh, we there now.
Oh my god. Maybe we don't bring him back because Munchak's available though.
Oh,
maybe we prioritize that.
Technicality. That's the way we're going with it.
Yeah. Maybe it's been written anyway. He was never coming back.
I believe in Pat Meyer because I believe in Dan Moore and Chooks.
Okay.
That's the role I'm taking today. I'm rolling with them.
I think it's gonna be fine.
Shout out to my old lineman in the building, man.
I do think the offensive line is gonna be fine. I really do. I think they'll be fine. They'll be top 20, top 15, I think, as a unit.
That would be a massive upgrade compared to last year.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You may see some growing pains here and there, but Canada got his guy apparently, right? He's got his quarterback. He's got his system. I think there's ways we could work this offense.
That plays a part of it as well, though, for Dan Moore's success.
What?
Because he's not having to block for a some people say statue. You don't have to block.
Are you saying that?
I just said some people. I don't know. Put words in my mouth. Some people said that Dan Moore was having to block for a statue last year.
I've never heard you say that.
That could have made it a little bit more difficult on him. I don't refer to 7 as a statue. Okay? But I could understand if people are excited about, the upgrade +1, just having a lot more mobility. That's all.
That's for Canada's system, because we could have run a fine offense with Big Ben last year. We could have run a fine offense.
Unfortunately, we will never know.
We won't. We won't.
Maybe Canada was protecting Ben from Ben. That could have been the case also.
No.
I mean, because think about it. With Haley, right? Haley took a different approach to protect Ben from Ben. Whereas you said with Arians, that was not the case. See? Same concept, man.
I could speak for myself. I could probably speak for Steeler fans here. Haley was at least proven to be a really good offensive coach in the NFL.
The NFL.
Multiple stops too. Whereas
Canada's proven he could be a good offensive coordinator at multiple stops.
Somewhat. I don't know. He bounced around in college a little bit too.
Now he's bouncing around. So getting job experience is bouncing around now. Is that how we're wording this thing? Huh? He was just becoming well versed.
That's fine. Yeah. Hopefully things work out. I mean, we got a lot riding on Canada here.